Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, as the coronavirus lockdown continues and many people start to find self-isolation increasingly difficult. Tonight I talk to arguably one of the UK's leading experts in self-isolation, a man who's been living on his own for over 20 years now, rarely venturing outside his own house. We're very lucky to have him here. Alan Dribblecock, thank you for joining us.
Shut up, you cunt.
Explain to us a little bit about why you've chosen to live such a reclusive existence, Alan.
Well, it's other people, isn't it? Drive you mad, don't they?
And how did you come to that realisation?
Well, I was at work one day, driving my bus, and I've had a look in the rear view mirror, and I looked at all the passengers, and I thought, what a bunch of wankers. I've had enough of these wankers. And I put my foot down hard on the accelerator, and about 100 yards further down the road I've slammed the bus into a tree.
A regrettable episode, was it not?
Well, not for me. I was the only one wearing a seatbelt. That's the thing about buses, isn't it? No seatbelts for the passengers. They all went flying about like skittles.
And consequently you spent time in prison, is that right?
Bunch of wankers they were in there as well, but you couldn't tell them that, otherwise they'd stab you.
And I think I'm correct in saying that it was upon your release that you started to become somewhat of a recluse.
Well, I moved into my mum's house, but then she fell out of the window and died, so I've housed to myself. Then I just closed the curtains and stayed there.
For almost 2 decades.
Yeah, I suppose so. When you put it like that, makes me sound mental, doesn't it?
How did you pass the time?
I watched a lot of television, didn't I? Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of wankers on television as well. Some of the biggest wankers I've ever seen, but the difference is they're TV wankers, aren't they? You don't interact or engage with them, you just sit there and stare at the dirty fuckers all day. And if I was hungry, I ordered a delivery and I told them to leave it at the front gate.
And how did you pay for things?
Burglaries! Just the occasional one. I'm not greedy. If the old bank account was running low, I'd go out at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'd break into old people's houses while they were sleeping, I'd take what I could find. They couldn't hear me shuffling about, deaf bastards. Even if they could hear me, they were too bloody slow to catch me, arthritic twats.
And how do you feel about the current coronavirus lockdown?
I think people should ignore the lockdown, go out, meet other people, friends and family, spread it about as much as possible. Let's have maximum casualties. There are too many human beings, they're all wankers. It's time for a cull. Obviously there's some god up in the sky watching all these people being wankers, acting like wankers in the world he's created, and he's thought, right, I'm not having this. I'll rustle up a pandemic in order to eliminate a sizable chunk of the human population because there's too many of them now and they're all wankers.
Would you say you're a religious man?
Well, not really. I can't get inspired by it. This idea that if you live a good life, when you die you'll go to heaven. The thing is, a lot of people have tried to live a good life and a lot of people have died, and so heaven must be absolutely full of them by now. Absolutely brimming with wankers. Ask yourself, why would I want to go and live in some magical kingdom in the sky full of wankers? I wouldn't. So I just sit at home and mostly do fuck all. And when I die, I'm hoping it's going to be like being asleep. Just an endless sleep with no dreams. Because you don't want your endless sleep to be spoiled by some dream wankers you've conjured up in your imagination, do you?
Alan Dribblecock, thank you for your unique insight into an unusual lifestyle. Have you any final words of advice for all the people out there struggling with self-isolation?
Just kill yourself, you cunts.
Lovely stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, good night.